Imagine going 3 full days without a single bite of food. No snacks, no quick energy fix, not even a sip of juice, just water and silence. At first, the idea feels uncomfortable, maybe even absurd. We live in a world where food is everywhere, all the time. Grocery stores on every corner, drive-thrus glowing at midnight, delivery apps that promise cravings within minutes. The thought of deliberately stepping away from all of it feels like punishment. But here's the truth that almost nobody talks about. The human body wasn't built for constant eating. It was built for rhythm periods of abundance followed by periods of scarcity. And in those gaps, in those silent stretches where no food comes in, the body reveals an intelligence that modern life has almost forced us to forget. Long before refrigerators and convenience stores, our ancestors regularly went a day or two or more between meals. They didn't collapse, they adapted, they sharpened, they survived because their bodies knew how to switch into a deeper mode of energy, clarity, and conservation. That same ancient system still exists inside you. And when you stop eating for 72 hours, that system doesn't shut down, it wakes up. Your cells switch languages, your brain rewires its priorities. Your metabolism reveals a version of you that only appears when food disappears. What follows isn't starvation, it's transformation. The moment you stop eating, your body doesn't panic the way most people imagine it would. It does something far more sophisticated, it pauses. It's almost like your biology leans in, listening, waiting to see whether this is a temporary delay or the beginning of something bigger. During these first few hours, everything feels normal because everything is normal. You're still operating on the glucose from your last meal, tucked away as glycogen in your liver and muscles, the biological equivalent of pocket money saved for the next few hours of living. Insulin begins to drift downward, slow and steady, quietly signaling that the era of easy fuel is fading. But nothing dramatic is happening yet. You might feel a familiar rumble in your stomach or reach for a snack out of habit instead of hunger. And that right there is one of the first lessons of fasting. Your body is not begging for food. Your routine is. Deep inside your cells, tiny shifts begin. Enzyme activity changes. Hormones reshape their patterns. It's subtle, almost silent, but the metabolism is already rearranging the pieces on its internal chessboard. For now, your body keeps everything running smoothly, your focus, your energy, your mood. But just beneath that calm surface, the stage is being set for a much bigger transformation. Between the 4th and 12th hour of fasting, something interesting happens. Nothing seems to happen. You can work, drive, think, joke, scroll, talk, and go about your life almost exactly as you always do. If someone looked at you from the outside, they wouldn't know anything has changed at all. And that's exactly the point. Your body is built to bridge this stretch effortlessly. It still has enough glycogen, your stored glucose, to maintain blood sugar, fuel your brain, and keep every organ running without skipping a beat. But beneath that surface of normalcy, subtle shifts begin to stack up. Insulin continues its slow decline, finally giving your cells room to open their doors and release stored energy. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, rises not because you're starving, but because your habitual mealtimes are passing. It's a psychological echo, a leftover script from your daily routine. And just like an echo, it fades if you don't respond. As this first stage stretches on, your liver becomes the quiet hero, breaking down glycogen granule by granule, drip-feeding glucose into your bloodstream. The process is smooth, controlled, almost elegant. But the supply isn't endless. As the hours tick forward, your body begins to sense that the familiar fuel is running out. And it prepares itself slowly, intelligently, instinctively for the moment when it must switch to a completely different source of energy. Around the 12-hour mark, the quiet balance you've been riding on begins to shift. Your glycogen reserves, once a generous cushion, start thinning out. Not empty, not gone, but noticeably lighter. And your body feels this. Subtle signals ripple through your system, not in a panicked way, but in a calculating, evolutionary way. It begins asking a silent question. Is this a temporary pause, or is food truly not coming? This is the point when many people mistake habit for hunger. You walk past the kitchen and feel a tug. You smell something cooking, and your mind responds before your body does. These aren't survival alarms, they're psychological routines. Your brain has been trained for years to expect food at certain times, and when those moments arrive with nothing on the plate, you feel the absence more than the need. Meanwhile, deeper inside, insulin drops low enough for your fat cells to finally loosen their grip. Stored energy isn't just locked away, it's being prepped. Mitochondria begin adjusting their internal chemistry, anticipating the transition to a new fuel source. The body becomes more alert, more tactically aware, as if scanning for cues to decide whether it's time to conserve or adapt. You may feel a dip in energy, a slight mood swing, or a moment of fog. These aren't signs of danger, but signs of recalibration. The system is shifting gears. And once your body commits to the next phase, the change becomes unmistakable. As you approach the 18-hour mark, the fragile feeling of business as usual begins to break. Your glycogen tank, once your comfortable safety net, is now nearly drained. Not empty, but close enough for your body to recognize that the easy energy is slipping away. And this moment, right here, is the crossroads. Biological history has taught your system to make one of two decisions: panic or adapt. And the human body, crafted by millions of years of survival, almost always chooses adaptation. This is where you may feel the first real wave of discomfort, a dull headache, a short burst of irritability, or the whispering voice in your mind suggesting, just one snack, just one bite. But those sensations are not indicators of danger. They're the final echoes of a body switching from the familiar fuel it prefers to the deeper reserves it rarely taps into. As glucose dwindles, fat takes center stage. Fat cells begin to open, releasing fatty acids into your bloodstream like a slow, deliberate release of emergency provisions. Your liver works quietly behind the scenes, converting those fatty acids into ketones, clean, durable molecules that your brain can use when sugar is no longer available. What feels like struggle on the outside is actually the awakening of a far more efficient energy system on the inside. This is the moment your metabolism stops behaving like a modern sugar-powered machine and returns to its original resilient design. And once this switch begins, your body does not look back. By the time you cross into the 24th hour, you're standing at the threshold of a remarkable neurological shift. Your body has already begun releasing ketones, but now, for the first time, your brain truly starts to notice. For most of your life, your brain has run almost exclusively on glucose, quick, predictable, familiar. But when that supply fades, it doesn't shut down. Instead, it begins to test the new fuel entering the system. Ketones slip past the blood-brain barrier with incredible ease, and almost immediately they change the chemistry of your thoughts. The fog that crept in earlier starts to lift. Your mind doesn't feel hyper or caffeinated. It feels steady, almost quiet in a way you didn't expect. It's as if someone turned down the background noise inside your head, leaving only clarity behind. Inside your neurons, BDNF, a powerful protein that supports learning, memory, and neural protection, begins to rise. This isn't a small adjustment, it's a neurological upgrade. Your brain is reinforcing connections, repairing small imperfections, stabilizing mood, and sharpening attention. It's preparing you for endurance, not immediacy. Meanwhile, hunger begins to behave differently. Instead of spiking like an emergency alarm, it comes in waves, short, temporary, surprisingly easy to ride. And when the wave passes, a sense of calm settles in. This is the beginning of metabolic freedom, the moment when you realize your energy no longer depends on constant feeding. This phase is subtle, quiet, and yet profoundly powerful. It's the bridge between who you were when you ate your last meal and who you're becoming as the fast deepens. Somewhere between the 30th and 36th hour, something surprising begins to happen. Your hunger, the thing you expected to grow louder and louder, actually starts to quiet down. Not because you're out of energy, not because your body is shutting down, but because your hormones are finally stabilizing. Ghrelin, the hormone that creates the sensation of hunger, follows a rhythm. It spikes at your usual mealtimes, then falls if you don't respond. And by this point in your fast, that rhythm begins to fade. What once felt like a demanding voice now feels more like a passing thought, noticeable, but not urgent. You're not wrestling with your cravings anymore, you're observing them. Inside your body, the shift is even more impressive. Your liver is now producing ketones steadily enough that your brain has a constant and reliable fuel source. Your mood begins to level. The irritability that flared earlier softens into a strange emotional steadiness. Even your senses sharpen not dramatically, but enough that you notice details you usually rush past. This period is the first real psychological milestone. It's when you realize you're not just not eating, you're adapting. The body's early protests dissolve into cooperation. What felt like effort turns into flow. And for many people, this is the moment they begin to understand. The fast isn't getting harder, it's getting easier. By the time you cross into the 36th hour, your body steps into a phase most people never reach, not because it's dangerous, but because modern life rarely gives the body enough silence to unlock it. This is the moment autophagy truly begins. The word sounds complex, almost clinical, but the process itself is beautifully simple. Your cells begin cleaning house, not casually, not gently, but with the precision of a microscopic cleanup crew that has been waiting patiently for years. Inside every cell, tiny structures begin scanning for damage, misfolded proteins, broken fragments, old mitochondria that don't work as well as they used to. These pieces are tagged, dismantled, recycled, and rebuilt into something new. Imagine millions of tiny janitors waking up at once, sweeping through your body, disassembling everything that slows you down. It's the kind of deep repair your system cannot perform when you're constantly digesting food. This is where inflammation starts to drop. Cellular waste is removed. Energy systems operate more efficiently. And surprisingly, this is when many people begin to feel lighter, not just physically, but mentally. The digestive system is resting, the bloodstream is clearing, and your energy is no longer being split between digestion and detoxification. Instead, everything is directed toward repair. This stage is why fasting is often linked to longevity research. Nobel Prize-winning scientist Yoshinori Ohsumi uncovered how autophagy slows aging, improves cellular resilience, and protects against diseases that thrive on damaged cells. And now, inside your fasted body, that same award-winning process is happening in real time. Hunger fades, clarity rises, and the deeper this cleanup goes, the more your body begins to feel like it's rebooting from the inside out. But what happens next? What awakens after the 48th hour might be even more powerful. At around the 48th hour, your body crosses a threshold that modern life almost never allows it to reach. This is where one of the most extraordinary transformations begins. Your immune system starts a full-scale reset. Not a boost, not a temporary surge, but a genuine rebuilding process from the inside out. It starts with a signal driven by the drop in glucose and the sustained rise in ketones. Your body recognizes that food is still not coming, so it shifts its priorities. Old, tired, dysfunctional immune cells, especially the ones that fuel chronic inflammation, are marked for breakdown. They're cleared out through the same autophagy pathways you unlocked earlier. It's not punishment, it's strategy. Your body removes the soldiers that can't keep up. At the same time, deep in your bone marrow, a quiet preparation begins. Stem cells, your body's master builders, receive instructions to prepare for regeneration. USC researchers discovered that prolonged fasting activates these stem cells, allowing them to generate a fresh batch of white blood cells once you begin eating again. In simple terms, your immune system isn't being suppressed, it's being replaced. Imagine retiring an entire army that's been overworked, underperforming, and constantly reacting to stress and training, a clean, efficient, brand new force to take its place. That's what's unfolding inside you. From the outside, you may feel nothing more than calm, focus, or steady energy. But inside, your body is reorganizing, reprioritizing, and upgrading defenses you'll rely on for the rest of your life. And what happens as you push deeper into the third day only amplifies this transformation. As you move beyond the 48th hour and into the 50 to 60-hour window, something unexpected begins to take shape, a sense of stability, almost a quiet equilibrium. The hunger that once felt sharp now becomes distant, muted, almost irrelevant. Your body is no longer negotiating. It is fully committed to a new fuel economy. Ketones flow steadily now, not in gentle trickles but in smooth, reliable currents. This consistent supply reshapes your internal landscape. Your brain runs on a fuel that doesn't spike or crash. Your energy stops swinging. Your emotions feel padded, protected, insulated from the usual stress that nudges you throughout the day. Growth hormone rises dramatically here, sometimes reaching levels 5 times higher than normal, and instead of breaking down muscle, your body does the opposite. It protects it, repairs it, reinforces it. This is why people often describe this stage not as weakness but as an odd sense of inner strength. Even cortisol, the stress hormone, begins to behave differently. Instead of spiking from cravings or blood sugar drops, it evens out, creating a surprising calm. For the first time, fasting feels less like effort and more like alignment. Your metabolism, hormones, and nervous system begin moving in the same direction, as if they finally agree on what truly matters. On the surface, nothing looks dramatic. But inside, the body is preparing for the peak transformation that arrives as you push toward hour 60 and beyond. As you cross into the 60th hour, your body enters a state that feels almost unreal, sharp, calm, steady, and laser-focused in a way you may never have experienced before. This isn't adrenaline. It isn't stimulants. It's evolution. You're stepping into what researchers often call hunter mode, the biological gear humans relied on long before modern comfort existed. With glucose long gone and ketones flowing at their highest levels yet, your brain begins operating like a high-performance machine. The haze is gone. The noise is gone. What remains is clarity, clean, cool, unmistakable clarity. Thoughts come faster but feel smoother, almost effortless. Problem-solving sharpens. Decision-making becomes more precise. Even your emotional responses stabilize, as if someone dialed down the intensity knob inside your mind. BDNF continues to rise, strengthening neural pathways and protecting your brain from oxidative stress. This isn't just a mental shift, it's a structural one. Your brain is rewiring for efficiency, not urgency. And unlike the jittery uplift you get from sugar or caffeine, this clarity is grounded, steady. It lasts. There's a reason our ancestors could track prey for hours, strategize without food, and survive long periods of scarcity. Their bodies weren't failing, they were optimizing. And in this window, your body taps into that same ancient intelligence. Your senses feel a touch sharper, your awareness widens, the world feels more defined. This phase is a reminder. You're not just capable of functioning without food, you're capable of functioning better. And as you approach the 70-hour mark, your body prepares to enter its deepest, most balanced state yet. As you approach the 70th hour, something remarkable settles in a level of balance so profound that it almost feels surreal. Your body is no longer adjusting, switching, or negotiating. It has mastered the fast. Every major system, your metabolism, your hormones, your immune response, now moves in quiet synchrony. It's a state most people never reach, not because it's impossible, but because modern life never gives the body the space to get here. Ketones flow with a smooth consistency, fueling your brain and muscles like a perfectly tuned engine. Inflammation continues to fall. Digestion rests deeply, almost meditative in its stillness. Your gut lining, which rarely gets a true break, begins repairing microscopic tears. And your microbiome, the billions of bacteria that influence mood, immunity, even weight shifts toward a healthier balance. Inside your cells, precision takes the place of chaos. Autophagy continues its cleanup, removing the last remnants of damaged material. Growth hormone stays elevated, ready to rebuild once nutrients return. Cortisol stabilizes, and your mind feels strangely serene, as if the body and brain are breathing in the same rhythm for the first time in years. Nothing on the outside looks dramatic, but internally, this is a symphony of renewal, quiet, organized, intentional. You're not surviving without food. You're operating in the mode your body was designed to reach, but almost never does. When you finally decide to end your 72-hour fast, the moment feels almost ceremonial, not dramatic but meaningful. Your body has just completed one of the deepest biological resets it is capable of. And now, after 3 days of silence, your digestive system awakens slowly, cautiously, like a powerful machine warming back up after an extended shutdown. This is why the first bite matters more than most people ever realize. Flood your stomach with heavy, greasy, or ultra-processed foods too quickly, and you shock the very system you spent 72 hours repairing. Your gut lining, freshly mended, isn't ready for impact. Your insulin sensitivity now at its peak can surge too sharply, and the calm clarity you've built can crumble in minutes. But ease into it gently, intentionally, and your body responds with remarkable precision. A warm broth, steamed vegetables, a soft boiled egg, a few slices of avocado, simple foods that are easy to digest and rich in nutrients. As they enter your system, your digestive enzymes wake. Insulin rises in a smooth, controlled curve, and your cells open their doors, ready to absorb what they've been waiting for. Inside your bone marrow, the stem cells activated earlier begin transforming into new immune cells. Muscle tissues begin subtle repair. Your microbiome starts reshaping itself around the first nutrients it receives. Even your senses feel amplified. Taste, smell, focus like someone polished the inside of your world. Breaking a 72-hour fast isn't just eating again. It's reintroducing life into a body that's been renewed from the inside out. And that first meal becomes the bridge between who you were before this journey and who you've become after it. After 72 hours, something becomes clear, maybe clearer than anything else you've experienced in this journey. The most surprising part of fasting isn't what your body does. It's what you discover about yourself. You learn that hunger isn't an emergency. That discomfort isn't a threat. That discipline can create a level of clarity no shortcut can replicate. You learn that your body is not fragile or desperate or dependent on constant feeding. It is resilient, adaptable, unbelievably intelligent, and far more capable than you ever gave it credit for. Fasting rewires your relationship with food, with cravings, and with the impulse to fix every feeling with a bite of something. But even more than that, it reshapes your understanding of your own limits. You realize the line you thought was too far was never a real boundary. It was just a belief you hadn't challenged yet. And if these 72 hours opened your eyes, then what happens in the first 24 might shock you even more. That's where the transformation begins far earlier than most people think, the moment your body first shifts, first adapts, first reveals its hidden systems. So if you're ready to understand how the journey truly starts, your next step is simple. Watch the video on the 24-hour fast. Because once you see what your body does in just one day, you'll never look at hunger or your own potential the same way again.